Yo, welcome back. Today we are looking at a new firmware for the EvilCrow RF V2. I did a video a few months ago, or about a year ago now, on the EvilCrow RF. This guy was sent to me by Rabbit Labs, so thank you, Rabbit Labs, for this EvilCrow. I did a two-part series, very well received throughout the community. However, the firmware kind of just fizzled out over time, and the EvilCrow was one of those things where it just kind of just had its peak and then slowly started to kind of fall off the face of the earth. But Snape 3000 over on GitHub developed a new firmware for the EvilCrow. What's really cool about it is that it's an app-based firmware. So before you would have to log in, well, you'd have to flash your device, which was very cumbersome. You either had to use Arduino or ESP3200, finding all the proper file formats and uploading them in a specific sequence, and then uploading the SD card. It was a whole mess. I mean, if you're really into it, go look at the part 1 of the EvilCrow video I did. I'll post it somewhere here or at the end of the video. Anyways, if you want to learn about that, go look at that. What's really cool is the new firmware for this guy is all web-based flashing, which I love because that's how a lot of devices are going. We do with the Flipper Zero. We can do that with the Hacker F ProtoPirate H4M, the Biscuit Pro War Driver. There's so many things that we can now do with web-based flashing, which just simplifies it a ton. So with that being said, here is the web interface. So when you go to sendname3000.github.io, it will take you to this little interface. And again, everything that you see in this video on this tabletop today will be in the description below. We have flash firmware, we have the GitHub page, we have donate. Flashing firmware is super simple. I already had this flash, but I'm going to talk you through it. You're going to take your EvilCrow RF, you're going to put an SD card in it, and then you're going to go to the firmware. You're going to hit flash firmware from the web GUI. And then as it pulls up the port page, you're going to hold down the boot button. So that's going to be the bottom button right here. Let's get into this maybe right there. So you have these two buttons, 1, 2, and then 3. You're going to hold down this one right here. You're going to hold that guy in, plug it into your USB port, and then hit connect. From there, it's going to connect to the EvilCrow RF. You're going to hit erase and flash, and it'll take roughly 30 seconds to 2 minutes to flash its full features. Once it's done, it'll say complete. You can then pull it out, and then you can either plug it back into your computer or you can plug it into a power bank of sorts. So I'm going to plug mine into here. And once it's all done flashing, we're going to go and download the app. Now the app is going to be on the GitHub page. Let's go to GitHub here. And we're going to scroll all the way to the app plus firmware right there. And we're going to scroll to the bottom. If you want to read through all the changes and such, you're more than welcome to do so. But down here is the EvilCrow RF app 1.1.3. Go ahead and download that guy and go ahead and launch it on your Android device. Our what it looks like is this guy right here, EvilCrow RF. Tap on that guy and it's going to have a little area that says connect. Now it'll automatically search for your EvilCrow. It found mine there, EvilCrow RF2. And I'm going to hit connect and let it do its job and connect. And then there we have it. We are connected to the EvilCrow RF V2. A lot of this may look semi-familiar, but the UI and the graphics are, in my opinion, top-notch. I really do like the scanning feature. I like that you can choose which modules you want to be. So if you do not know, the EvilCrow can transmit and TX simultaneously. So module 1 and module 2 has 2 CC1101s on there, which makes it a very well-equipped board to do dual tasks, whether that's going to be receiving and transmitting at the same time or receiving and receiving at different frequencies. So right now we're on module 1. Now if I go to, we have signal list, and we can press start to begin scanning. So if I want to hit start, we can now scan, and we're scanning the spectrum. And if I go to spectrum, we have down here 300 all the way up to 925. If I were to take, say, the ProtoPirate H4M and boot this guy on, and I go to, let's see here, I want to go to transmit, and I'm going to go ahead and transmit some TPMS tire pressure sensors data. So I'm on 3.14.9 for the Schrader. And if I go ahead and start TX, now here's something that you guys ask me all the time, and I want to discuss it real quick. A little side journey here is this is the Comet W100RX antenna. I have been showcasing this guy and using this guy for almost 2 years now. I recommend these antennas. They are very well at their job of receiving. Now I get asked all the time, can they transmit? They suck at transmitting, and I'm going to show you that right now. We have the app here, right? You can see that. Here is the EvilCrow. Here is the H4M. I am about 9 inches away. I'm going to hit Start TX, and you see nothing happening over here, right? Nothing. Nada over here, okay? I'm going to go ahead and move, and this is the antenna. Like, that's still a good 6-inch antenna. If I even extend like that and I go over here, I want to hit Start, and you're not seeing nothing, okay? I want to keep bringing this closer to the EvilCrow. Now, keep your eyes over here on the app. Start, 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 start. And I'm getting closer, 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 closer. There we go. So, I'm touching these antennas. Like, that's how close I am, okay? Backing off a little bit. Coming in, coming in, coming in. Start. And again, about half an inch. The W100 RX antenna sucks at transmitting. This antenna is good for receiving only, not transmitting. Hope that helps people out. Back to the EvilCrow RF. If I go to the Flipper Zero here, and I'm going to go ahead and just use a 315 Lambo lock feature. That's Flipper Zero, obviously, is way over here, and that signal is pretty medium. If I go closer, we get stronger, obviously. I want to go back over here, and at this point, I'm roughly 4 feet away from the EvilCrow RF. So you can see that the antennas on this work fairly well. If you do want to get more oomph, then I will put a link in the description below for some better antennas. But for the most case scenario, these little guys do just fine. That is covering the signal spectrogram. Now I'm going to go ahead and hit stop on my scanner. You have to hit stop because if you don't hit stop and you go into the next portion, that current feature will keep running, which is a nice feature if you're trying to do dual captures and transmitting. Let's go ahead and that's just under the home screen. Let's go ahead and go under the sub-gig area. Now, a lot of this may look familiar if you have a Flipper Zero, the ProtoPirate H4M, anything that can transmit sub-gigs. Here we are. We are on our sub-GHz module 1. We can also select number 2. And again, this is what I'm saying, that we can look at 2 different frequencies if we want to. So this is 333.92. I can go to this one. I can go and select anything out of that whole spectrum if I want to. So let's just say 315. And then I can select my modulation. If I go to that area and I were to go and hit record, so let's go ahead and let's see here. We're at 43392. This frequency on the Lambo lock is at 315. We're going to switch that to 315 to match that. And I'm at AM 650. And let's go ahead and hit start recording. Now, I noticed a small glitch, and again, this is firmware still fairly new, so some parts may be glitchy, just be aware of that, but you may need to hit start recording twice and then hit send, and then there you can see that we just received that signal, and we're still receiving it. We got about 3 of them, correct? So we got 1, 2, and 3 signals that were captured, and then if I wanted to replay them, I could. So if we go to the ProtoPirate H4M, we go to our looking glass, and I were to go and, for instance, hit transmit on the Flipper Zero. See that green line right there? All right, let's keep an eye on that green line. Now if I hit transmit, you can see that line then goes to more of a red line, and we are obviously transmitting, and then the ProtoPirate H4M is receiving. Now that's from the Flipper Zero. So if I were to use the EvilCrow RF app and I go to transmit signal and I hit transmit, you can see here that we had that nice little blip, a lot more kind of wide from that, and it was very quick though because that's all that was received. And transmit again, and then there's that blip again. So that's pretty much how to use the transmit feature and the capture feature on that. So let's go ahead and stop recording. Stop recording. Let's move on. We also have brute force here, so we can brute into a lot of devices. Quick disclaimer, obviously, only test things that you have permission to test on your own equipment. This is the controlled environment in my little lab here. And again, I'm using very minimal antennas. Be aware that all this stuff is definitely in a controlled environment. Test your own stuff. We have a whole plethora of brute that we can do. We have the EU garages, US garages, home autos, alarm systems, and just the list goes on and on. A lot of this is very similar to what is already offered on the Flipper Zero. But if you didn't want to buy Flipper Zero and this is a way cheaper option, then this guy can do quite a bit when it comes to these gigahertz spectrum. That is that, and then we have ProtoPirate. So ProtoPirate is something being developed and semi new, and by new I mean like maybe like 6 to 7 months ish, but it's pretty much the ability to capture rolling codes and then to decode them and then to replay them. It was very popular with the Flipper Zero from the Unleashed firmware, and from the guys over in Russia somewhere created this firmware, and it they had it for sale for a while for like $500, and now it's like $4,000, which is probably good because this kind of firmware in the wrong hands definitely would get a lot of people in trouble because they would just do stupid shit. ProtoPirate, though, is a great tool to learn on rolling codes and how to look at the functionality and how to decode them if you have the appropriate frequencies and all the parameters set up. Now, the EvilCrow RF doesn't fully do ProtoPirate yet, but you can definitely transmit frequencies and then look at what they're doing. So if I hit start decoding and I hit Lambo, let's see if we capture anything. I've noticed that some of these signals are captured and then are decoded like instantaneously, and then some of them just stay in this little decoding on module 0 at whatever for quite a while. I don't know what the deal is there, if it's a glitch or if that information isn't there yet. I know that if we look at the release notes and the change logs, that those things are still to come. Again, this is still a work in progress like all things. So if I hit stop recording and I go to that module 2 and I hit start decoding and I were to send a signal again, decoding on module 1 at 3:15, we got 10 signals analyzed. So let's see what happens there. If I hit that again to kind of get more data to hopefully pull something out. Maybe not. It might just stay there for all eternity. I haven't really seen it do much other than that. But if we go to a signal that is very well known and has been decoded by numerous devices, so the Subaru, for instance, and we're going to go ahead and Subaru Impreza, and we're on the raw, also on the 315. If I hit transmit on that guy, and let's see what happens here. Nothing yet, so let's go ahead and stop decoding. Let's go back to module 1, hit start decoding, and let's just go, oh, I'm sorry. That's what, I'm on the wrong frequency. So let's go back and let's change to 433.92 and hit start decoding and then hit send. And we should be able to receive that frequency. So there we go. And all that is in there. So we have the data, the serial, the button, the counter, the bits, the encoder, the CR, frequency, yada, yada, yada. And we can also emulate that if we want to. So if we go back to looking glass over here, and I go to 433 key fobs, and we're going to put this guy right yonder so we can still see him, and I were to emulate that frequency over here, we just saw that that green line goes on, hit transmit, and that is how that frequency will look on the ProtoPack H4M looking glass. But that's pretty much ProtoPirate. It's still a work in progress, like I said. It helps to kind of have some key fobs that you can play with and kind of test on your own to see what works, what doesn't work. We also have NRF analyzers. We have mouse jack. We have the spectrum. Spectrum goes from channel 0 all the way up to channel 125, from 2.4 gigahertz all the way to 2.525 gigahertz. So we were to hit start analyze. And if I was to be transmitting anything in that spectrum, we should be able to see it. All right, let's go to apps. Let's go to that BLE, so Bluetooth. Let's go to BLE spam. Do the entire kitchen sync and hit start. Okay, so we're obviously spamming my device too at the same time. But there we go. We had one on channel 75 right there, just kind of bleeped up. Channel 25. Let's see, we had channel 80-ish. Let's see, there's another one. Let's see, what else? What else? We also have peanut butter and jelly. The peanut butter and jelly has a ton of features as well. So we have full spectrum, we have Wi-Fi, BLE, and the list goes on, all the way down to drone, Zigbee, as well as you can set your own custom range and hoppers, and of course RC controllers. We're not going to get into that. I will leave that for you guys to test out on your own. Again, be aware of local and state laws and what you're doing, and again, work in your own environment and only test equipment in your own area. Files here, we have the files, we have data we got saved from that, we have presets, record signals, and then temp files. That's pretty much it for the EvilCrow RF app. Again, this is by Snape 3000. Very cool features here. I'm really excited to see what comes of this app because I did a video about a month ago now on apps for the Android phones. We discussed the what did we discuss? We discussed Pocket 25, and then we discussed SDR stuff. So there's a lot of really cool apps coming out for Android devices and iOS too, I guess. iOS is more finicky because they don't allow you to plug things in, which is really stupid. I really like this, and I think I'm going to make this a new segment of popular apps or really cool apps for the Android device, or even just iOS, just apps, mobile apps in general, right? We're gonna just kind of we'll find a name for it, but. With that being said, let's thank today's sponsor, PCBWay. If you guys do not know who PCBWay is, they make incredible PCBs. They can take your schematics, your drawings, your BOMs, and they can assist you in taking your thoughts to an actual tangible PCB. They offer CNC services, 3D printing services, injection molding, metal fabrication, as well, of course, as PCB assembly and PCB printing. Check them out. They have been a huge sponsor for this channel for the past year, almost 2 years now, and I greatly appreciate them and working with them. They are awesome people. If you guys are interested in them, check out the link in the description below to save some dollars off your first order. I would like to thank everybody for your time. As always, thank you for watching, tuning in, and if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out and comment down below or join my Discord. Links again for everything that you see here, whether it's the Flipper Zero, the EvilCrow RF, the Comet W100RX antenna, as well as my little 3D printer riser, plus the BNC mouse or the H4M. So pretty much everything that you saw in this video, I will put a link in the description below. That way you guys can go out and learn and kind of test some cool stuff out. Like, subscribe, and all that fun stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next video.